Hey there, everybody. I am the Terminator, and I just wanted to let you know I'm going to be doing an anime review on Black Clover. Basically, just to point out, in case if you guys didn't know, that this anime specifically, I haven't done a review for this at any time back when I used to watch it from all the way down to zero to now where it stands. I will say this: Fairy Tale was really good, really hard to beat, but I have to say, after watching this, I'm very much gonna say this, and please don't get, butthurt about it. This will kick Fairy Tail's butt any day of the week. Now, granted, it's a little bit bigger. Fairy Tail's a little bit bigger now, but I got tired of the massive amount that Fairy Tail it kept going off on a dander. It just kept on going off in La La Land, and it's just got so really hard to swallow so much. But this anime, even though it's only got 96 episodes, which is really kind of small in comparison, but it's still a really good anime. When I first started watching, they consistently kept pumping out the overhype aspect. They kept on making it get more overhyped, and just kept on getting more overhyped, more overhyped. That's pretty much the way they do it. It's just bam, overhyped, overhyped. But anyway, so right now, the issue here is that all of these, this particular anime has got a really good twist to it, and I think ultimately you guys are gonna like that about it. Most people already have probably have some kind of idea of like what to expect from it, and I don't want to blow anybody's if you haven't really watched all the way up to 96 episodes, say you're starting off and you're only like episode 20 or 30, I'll try not to blow those. I'll try to make sure I don't say anything that would kind of blow it. But the latest episodes have been wow, just amazing. And I really hate the fact that the king himself, the Wizard King, ended up he lost in that battle. I'm a little bit upset about that, but I understand why. And I can still respect it, even though I wish that because he had him dead to rights. And this freaking kid, this scrub, thought he was Mr. Banks, somebody who could, just one hit everything. And so he just basically does a really cheap move and basically makes a big old Kamehameha wave and about to blow the whole freaking city away. And so the Wizard King had no choice but to use all his powers to actually deflect that blast and make it actually not, but then, it's like, oh yeah, he won that fight. That's a little bit annoying. Sometimes Black Clover does have its problems, just like any other diarrhea at the mouth, freaking overhyped. Maybe when you want to go back and redo the story a little bit, make it a little bit better. No, they clearly. So I have my problems with this anime. I give this thing maybe a 6 star rating. What? For actually talking really good about it, you would think that I would give it a little bit more. Let me explain why. You obviously know that I've just told you some of the things that I have problems with it. It goes on and on. It just keeps on getting worse. The main character of Black Clover, I can't get behind him. Yeah, he's a little bit better than Naruto, I will admit. I would get behind him. He's better than Naruto. Mainly because of the black, awesome demon stuff. Not because of him. Could care less about him. In fact, if he died, I would have been so happy. But I think the show should have been revolved around this guy, but it has taken a twist though, because in the later episodes, it's not all about the scrub kid. I'm kind of glad for that, because at least then we can get behind that. And the show kind of splits off between later down the road between the brothers. I don't know why they never considered themselves as brothers. That's the part I don't understand. Oh, they're just like. They're friends. That's it. Every time they ask him about any information, oh yeah, he's not a brother. It's like, that doesn't make any sense. Anyway, it's a real hard thing to swallow. Anyway, so you have all this stuff and all these different characters, and then the fighting gets interesting later down the road. But for the most part, I mean, I have a really hard time with this anime in certain areas. But other than that, it's actually a really good show. And towards the later of the episodes, it did get better. They started doing the tournament between, getting into becoming a knight for the Royal Knights. That was amazing. Tournament actually made it better because no longer was it about the stupid kid that I can't stand because it's all about him, right? It's all and this guy couldn't be the worst character for the show because it's a Naruto knockoff. And I'm like, I hate that garbage. Anybody would tell you this. I hated it when Naruto was it, like when they did it to Naruto. Still hate it to this day. So garbage. But he is the main character of the show. Well, actually, technically he's not, but it kind of made it into that. But anyway, but back to the point at hand, the show is very good because it's not all about the kid, because they had to go to other characters because obviously the kid was just so terrible on the show that he actually was making it actually drop in ratings. So they had to focus on the other characters like her. At the beginning of the show, the beginning of the actual show, like down all the way down to 0, she was like, get off of here. I actually kind of liked her personality. She actually brought exactly what we needed. But then she began to open up, and then she began to be in love with Asuna, or she calls him Stink Asta or something like that, which is kind of a funny way of doing it. But anyway, that she actually ended up falling in love with him, which is weird because now we have this like competition. But I think it'd be interesting to find out if like later down the road that they don't actually end up together, because I think that if they did end up together, it would be kind of like, because they have the same kind of hairs, the look of the hairs are like almost identical. It's kind of a little creepy, but anyway, semantics. This was a very interesting bad guy right here. The queen is in the back. That particular saga when they fought, it was like a really good fight. Like it was really worth watching. This was a very interesting bad guy, and it was a very interesting way they put him into the way that they did it. It was very interesting. I think you guys will like the anime as it goes along, but having to get into the story will be a little bit difficult. But I mean, we'll see. It's one of those things like it could be a possibility. But yeah, this anime has got a very big problem. It just keeps on trying to be more overhyped. But then again, when you compare it to Fairy Tail, what was one of the things that they did? Very literally did they ever actually do an overhype situation. They always tried to overhype it, but it never worked. I think it just like went negative instead of actually positive on it. They made their whole show was based on the idea of Fairy Tail, and they really did bring that to the show. I think they actually did really well in consideration of that. But this is a more of a BA show compared to that. Completely different shows. And this is kind of like that twist towards that show. And I think this show would kick its butt any day of the week on Fairy Tail. Because Fairy Tail, they basically are just, I mean, it's not even, it's just like, all they have really at the end of the day is the Demon Slayers. That's the only people that really can fight anything. And it's like, when you get to that point, it just gets really difficult. Fairy Tail, I've had my problems with it for a long time. But anyway, this show in particular, I think you guys would like it. I think you would like it a lot. Just one of those things you have to look for. I think it was a little bit too much. But, I mean, what am I to say, right? I mean, I'm very interested to see what's going to happen. But anyway, alright, thanks guys for watching. If you have any questions, I would go into 100 million different things. I think the one thing I'd have to say before I get off is the captain of the Black Bulls, Yami. He's really awesome. I highly recommend when you watch him in the show, you'll definitely like him a lot more than you might think. This is the World Guard. Of course, I can't see anything. It's barely even showing anything. Garbage. Guess I'll have to do this the old-fashioned way. Okay. I know I saw a picture. Oh well. I guess I'll do it later. Maybe or something like that. Maybe with a new episode. But I kind of didn't want to blow anything, so that's making it difficult for me to be able to say anything because I don't want to blow it for you guys. So I want you to watch the review, but not actually, you know, feel like I'm blowing the caption. I have no idea if the Wizard King is actually going to live or not. I do know this: Yami was trying to protect his body, his corpse, and maybe in hopes that maybe they could bring him back. And it would be awesome if they could bring him back, because my God, he really showed this kid what's up. You had to go Kamehameha wave in order to actually beat him, and it was the only way, because otherwise, the Wizard King would have kicked his butt. He came this close. In a way, of sense, if you want to consider this, the way he lost, and I know this may seem a little bit of like a blowing it for you, so if you haven't seen it, you may feel like it's gonna blow it for you. Not really. The fight was awesome. The battle between this kid and I feel like this kid right here was the only one who could actually fight the Wizard King, because the Wizard King was too strong. He was too powerful, and he was too wise. So yeah, given the fact that he's actually known not to be the Wizard King but the Wise King, so yeah, good luck beating him. And not to mention, he has his magic is time. You realize exactly how much, and that's what I didn't understand. Okay, I have a critique, but it's a small one in comparison. It's not a bad one, but it's a good question. Look, the Wizard King has the power of time magic, and he has the ability to be able to absorb magic over time. And, if his fellow comrades and stuff like that, he absorbed it. Well, I was wondering, there's a question. Shouldn't he have more power than that? Because he's the Wizard King. Of course. Duh. He should be even more powerful because of that. He should have extra standard mana and stuff. I expected a little bit more when it came to the grand finale, I think. I think ultimately, he did use recovery magic, but unfortunately that put him in a bind, and he lost all magic because of that. And I was like, wait a minute, hold on the phone here. If you would have used the recovery magic, you would still had a decent amount of magic left, or mana left from doing that. It might have cost you a little bit, but I think in the end it would have been alright. It wouldn't have been that bad. But I'm like, to me it just didn't feel right. Like, there was just something about that that did not make any sense. And I was like, wait a minute, hold on the phone here. It's like, anyway, but that's my only pet peeve, is like how the fight went down. I felt like it was given to this kid to try to take an advantage over the Wizard King, because the Wizard King was definitely, without a doubt, the more powerful one, the one who actually had this significant power, because this kid clearly was outmatched. He was just an amateur in comparison to the Wizard King. I just wish that he would have been able to do something. Like, the Wizard King had some kind of trick up his sleeve. Like, some mana recasting cuffs that he would cast on him that they would use to prison their inmates who are... Because you got to think about it. These are mages, right? You put these cuffs on them, and it basically seals their magic. You take away their magic ability, all they have is their swordsmanship. And that's it. So they're going to be totally reliant on that. And think that's an advantage or a disadvantage. It's going to be kind of hit or miss. Anyway, that's my take on it. This anime kind of just, after a while, you see all of its faults. They have a quirky side that helps them to be able to do certain things, but it's still better than Fairy Tail. I will say that. Hands down, much better. You can get behind it a lot better and a lot easier. I think in the end you'll definitely like it. The Yami captain is amazing. I actually been only interested in this show because of Yami. Seriously? I know, because Yuno, which is the friend, they're like brothers, and basically he was a good one to kind of like, I was always kind of watching him and always waiting to see if he was going to do something. And of course I was watching the main character. I did like the main characters in the show, but I just gotta admit, the way things were done, I was like, it's just such a disgrace. But then you got Yami. Yami's exactly what I was looking for in this whole entire show. So in a sense, honestly, that was all I needed. Let's just focus on him. Not anybody else. Just needed. That was it, and I've been enjoying it ever since. Alright, thanks guys for watching. If you have any comments, go ahead and put them down below. I know that this is a pretty big anime. It's got like 90-something 6 episodes, but you don't have to get so embellished on doing that. Just watch 5 episodes, man. And if you don't like it, if you don't like the direction of it, sometimes it's a little bit hard to watch sometimes at the beginning. But, because sometimes in the beginning, if it doesn't sell it to you right then and there, it's like hit or miss. But I think at the beginning, this particular series isn't half bad. I have to cut this off real quick, so if anybody has any comments, and if you would like to discuss this anime in probably better detail, still again, I say go watch the first episode. It can't get no wrong with that. There's a, it's a gamble, take the gamble, but you will not be disappointed in comparison to other animes. And believe it or not, it's one of the biggest #1 animes out there right now because it's still ongoing. So, again, it's hit or miss. But I mean, if you like the art style, which you've seen in the images, you will see that, this is what it looks like when you're actually watching the anime. But, I mean, it's one of those things, like, hit or miss. Take your pick. Alright, thanks guys for watching. If you have any further questions, put them down in the comments. Thank you.